Hi there, this is Jen, and thanks so much for stopping by today. Today I have a cute card using a Creative Expressions die from the Paper Panda collection. The name of the die set is actually called A Meeting Garry, and it's this cute giraffe with several other little characters. And the die set comes with the main portion, which is that giraffe and the little characters, and then it comes with a strip of grass as well as several little hearts. And for this card, I'm going to be doing a little bit of coloring and a little bit of dry embossing. It's actually a really quick card to put together. And I started out by die cutting these pieces 3 times, and I am using some accent opaque white because it is a little bit of a thicker paper, and I wanted to stack this, so I wanted to make sure that I used a thicker paper. And so 2 of the die cut pieces, I took out all of the spots on the giraffe, and then that last piece is going to be actually on the bottom, and I wanted it to be solid, and so I only ran it through once through my die cut machine. The others I ran through probably about 2 or 3 times to get all of the little details cut out. And so this, luckily for this piece, all the pieces stayed in pretty much except for that one that was missing. And so I just took some tape to the back of it to make sure that it would stay put while I was working with it. And then to adhere the other giraffe pieces together, I'm using one of my favorite quick glues, and it's called Artist Tack, and it's basically 2 sheets. There is a tacky side and a dry side, and you just place your die cut or whatever you're gluing and kind of burnish it in between those 2 sheets, and it is so much easier than using liquid glue, especially for really detailed things, and so it is perfect. So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere those 2 pieces together. And then I'm going to start coloring. So I'm going to add just a little bit of color. You're not going to see this a whole lot because that other die cut piece is going to be on top. But I'm using some Wendy Vecchi Make Art blendable dye inks, and the colors that I'm using are potting soil and sunflower. So the layer that I colored is going to be on the very bottom, and then the stacked dies are going to go on top of that. So I'm just setting that over to make sure that I have enough color on there where you can kind of see through. And one fabulous little detail about this giraffe is it looks like it has a little heart on its butt. I don't know if that was intentional or just how the spot turned out, but I think that is super cute. So I'm going to go ahead and take that top piece, and I'm going to use the same colors, the potting soil and the sunflower, and add a little bit of color to the giraffe. And I wasn't sure at this point how I was going to color the other little characters, so I did start with a little bit of the potting soil, I believe, on that bottom hedgehog. And then I switched over to using alcohol markers. I just thought it was a little bit easier to use the alcohol markers to get a little bit more detail rather than doing anything with a blending brush and inks. And so I just colored those up, really simple coloring. And so there's a little bird on top, a squirrel, a bunny, and then the hedgehog on the bottom standing on a stool, which is super cute. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the background. So I'm taking my panel. This is a panel that is cut 5.5 to 5.5, and I am using the colors Buttercup, which is this yellow right here, and then I'm using some garden patina, and again these are the Wendy Vecchi inks as well. And so I just wanted a little bit of color in the background. And after I have that color blended in the background, I'm going to use an Airless Mister, and this color is called Hello Sunshine. So I just sprinkled a little bit, and then I took a baby wipe and mopped up some of that wet ink, and it left these really pretty marks on the paper. And then I'm setting up my platform to do a little bit of dry embossing. I am using this stencil. It is called Bubbles. And so I'm taking my platform. I have removed the extra piece. I have put my cutting mat on the bottom, so you could use, if you have a cutting mat or your cutting plate. And then I have put the piece of rubber down, the paper or the cardstock, the stencil on top, and then the cutting plate on top, and I have run that through my die cutting machine, and it left this really pretty texture of the stencil. And then I'm going to take the stencil and match it back up with that dry embossed area, and I'm going to take a little bit of ink and go back over that again. And so now I'm going to go ahead and take my artist tack and repeat the process of adhering all of the pieces together. So I just went ahead and adhered the top piece, and then I colored that little pink heart that goes in the rump of the giraffe. And then for that little strip of grass, I have used some leaf green ink, and that is the Wendy Vecchi ink, and then I'm taking a green alcohol marker and adding a little bit of green to that as well, and then I colored the little flowers on there with some alcohol markers, and then I went ahead and popped that up with some foam tape. And I popped that up so that the giraffe's feet could be behind the grass, but the stool that the hedgehog is on would be sitting on the grass, and it worked out perfectly. And then I'm just going to use some liquid adhesive to put behind the die cut, and then adhered that to my panel. And then I added the hearts, and I'm going to add a little bit of one of my favorite little embellishments. This is Cosmic Twinkles in Sparkle Star. So I added a little bit of that on the heart and the some of the little cutouts of the giraffe's spots. And that will finish this card. And I went ahead and I left a sentiment off of the card just because I think it could be used for lots of different occasions, and so I just went ahead and chose not to use a sentiment until I actually send it out. But that is it for me. That finishes my card off. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like it or find it informative, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. As always, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to spend with me, and I hope to see you next time.